You're tuned into Capital Jazz TV. I'm your host, Jodine Dorsey. And on the 17th annual Capital Jazz SuperCruise, the Love King himself, Raheem DeVaughn, is here with us. How are you, Raheem?
Well, hello there, Dimples. How are you?
I am good. Raheem, this is your third Capital Jazz SuperCruise, right? Second or third?
Yeah, this is my third time here. Yeah.
How are you loving it? You're here for the whole ride. How have people received you?
It's great. It's great. You know, I consider myself a approachable person.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of those artists that's approachable, you know, like most of the artists that are here, you know, so, or all the artists that are here, you know, so it's great, you know, it's great. It's interesting because everybody these days I get approached as Mr. Quiet Storm, and which is a backseat to being, you know, being a recording artist, which is pretty cool, you know.
Yeah.
I think the thing I love about radio the most is being connected to community in a different way.
It's so it's so interesting because you don't typically get an artist. First of all, let me say this real quick. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Quiet Storm, WHUR, DC area. Can we get this syndicated so I can listen to this in Atlanta, please?
No, for sure. I mean, and we do have the app, which is we have a heavy amount of traffic on the app, over 100,000 app users. So you know, from seeing the research, I just got my first report card. So we #1 in the market. You know, number one nighttime music show in the DMV. And you know, shout out to there's a lot. I know DC is in the house. The DMV is in the house heavy. DC,
that's right.
Maryland, Northern Virginia. You know, even although Baltimore doesn't report, we got a huge, you know, Baltimore following as well. New York as well, tri-state. We have people tapping in from tri-state. Speaking of the tri-state, I woke up this morning and had my early meditation and prayer and all the things.
What happened, Raheem?
And a great show, by the way. You know, we're glad to see you back. Glad to see you back. You know, I was missing Eric Roberson.
Yeah. It was a whole battle.
But there was another guy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, this is number 2. It's number 1. Number 1 in the market. Number 2 to you.
Lenny Green, who is one of our hosts here on the Capital Jazz SuperCruise, is also here, the voice of Quiet Storm. So now that Raheem DeVaughn is the host of Quiet Storm in D.C. and surrounding areas, it's like a battle between the
apparently
two of
there's a Quiet Storm wars going on.
Who knew?
You know, I got dragged into this thing, you know, but I ain't never ran from a street fight, you know. I'm like a young Ali in his prime. Yeah, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I look good, I smell good, I feel good, I sing good.
That's right.
And yeah,
you
float
have
like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
But you have an advantage.
Hold on, when I see Lenny, he gonna be swimming in the sea. No, you know I love Lenny. That's my OG, man. You know. That's my OG.
That is your OG.
For life,
but,
you know?
But you have an advantage because that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about. How does an artist who is all about performing music, creating music, get into radio?
Well, you know, this battle thing really happens. You know, we got to negotiate.
Yes.
We got to talk. We got to. Are we in Mexico? So we just talk the dinero. We got to talk the dinero.
The pesos.
The pesos and the dinero. We got to talk, right? But you know, I gotta. If it gets tight down to the wire, I got the cheat code.
Okay, what's the cheat code?
I just bust into one of my #1 records.
Ooh, see
How
what
you
I'm
like
saying?
that, Lenny? My name is Lenny. If it's in me, I got plenty. All right.
But seriously, how do you get into radio? Why was radio so important?
No, on a serious note, this is something I've been wanting to do for over 20 years.
Really?
You know, far back as 2010 when I started the Raheem DeVaughn show, which I would do once the podcast, which went on to be, you know, an amazing thing. You know, of course that ran its course, but you know, filling in as well. for a lot of different personalities in the air, and just like studying, you know what I mean, not just studying like Lenny, for example, but you know, Donnie Simpson, who I probably talked to more in the last 6 months than I ever have in my life, you know what I mean. And in fact, he just requested me to do his. He's doing something special. I don't want to say what it is, but I have a sit down coming up with him. You know, I think on the 28th of this month. But you know, seeing Russ Parr, like these are all my peers. It's just something that radio's always, you know, fascinated me. I grew up listening to Melvin Lindsey. This is something that I prayed for, and I feel like I manifested. They say that when you pray, you should pray in very detail, though. You be very descriptive about. And I did not. I did leave out a few major details. So when I did get this job, I'm convinced that God has a sense of humor, because of, you know, fun fact, I was up for the Radio 1 job last year, and it came down to me and Raul Tresvant, you know what I mean? So who's on Radio 1. So you know, when the opportunity came with HUR, I was like, wow, out of all the things that I could have, you know, for it to be the original Quiet Storm and something that I grew up on. I remember the night that Melvin Lindsey reported the death of Marvin Gaye. I remember where I was, what the weather was like. I can't remember what movie that me and my mother saw, but we had just came from seeing a movie from the movie theaters. It was raining. She had this little red Fiat.
Yeah.
And I remember that, and you know, me being a huge Marvin Gaye fan, even at that age, it was just like, it rocked my world. So, you know, knowing what Melvin has meant to DC, you know, what I mean to DC. I was just telling a good friend of mine a few weeks ago, I feel like that I'm getting my karma back for like in all of the way that I've poured into the city, community wise.
I want to talk about
now
that too.
Now I get it back. You know, I get to get it back. You know, through the listenership. You know.
Talking about DC, it's one of the things that I've always been fascinated with you, Raheem, is how you're able to create such a strong music community in DC, artistic community in DC, not just different artists, but like putting on shows, putting on concerts, bringing DeMont with you on shows and things of that nature. Why is community so important to you as an artist? Because an artist is you're a creator. That's a solo journey.
For me, it's the concept of like, I don't feel like anybody should come into your hood or come into your city and just touch down and take and earn and then keep it moving. Like, it's the concept of that. So that I just don't, you know, I think, you know, in some cases, you know, with cities like, I'm not a hip hop artist, but you know, it got to the point with Detroit with Trick where he would like literally you what they call it, a no fly zone.
Yes.
So it's not, you know, I'm an R&B guy, like what I look like saying a no fly zone, right? But I do feel like, you know, whether it's an artist or if it's a major corporation, Fortune 500, you know, company, you know, that's why, you know, all that's going on right now with I won't say the three magic letters, but it's a lot going on.
It's a lot going on.
It's a lot. It's very important for us to, you know. I don't see anything wrong with calling out artists or calling out companies and saying like, hey, you come here and make, you know, use 50,000, 100,000, 30,000, or whatever you make a night, and the most you could do is, the least you could do is like, you know, go stop by, you know, Department of Recreation, and you know what I'm saying,
give a little something,
build with the youth, or
do a little something.
You know, we're all we got. Clearly, we're all we've had for a very long time, right? So, it's very important to me to pour, you know, into communities. So whether it's dealing with, you know, domestic violence or, you know, sexual health, you know, shout out to the AHF. Who I've worked with in the past. You know, I had a sponsorship with them for many years, and you know, we moved on from that. And last year, I did the tour with Lettucey and Gilead Sciences, who who chose me to be a
I've worked with
spokesperson for them.
Gilead before.
Yeah, they're great staff.
Great staff.
Shout out to my people over there. Shout out to Samantha over there, and giving me an opportunity to speak about HIV and AIDS and how it's affecting not only us as black folks, but black women in particular.
Yeah.
And be able to touch so many people a night.
Yeah.
I'm very similar to like what Kendrick does. I've been doing for a very long time.
That's right.
Far back as Urban Ave 31, and with my brother Wes Felton in the Crossroads. I'm a edutainer.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So don't. I know they throw the unmentionables to the stage. Things we're going to get very, may get very moist and tastefully, in a tasteful way. No pun intended. On this Saturday, 2 shows, 6 to 9. But don't get it twisted. I catch wigs in midair.
Wow.
But
wow.
I care about my people.
This is what happens when you have the Love King on the SuperCruise. This is what happens. Last question for you. Last question, Raheem. You're sitting down with Donnie Simpson's coming up.
Yeah.
You got Quiet Storm going on. What's going on with the Raheem album? When can we expect something new?
So I drop a few I drop a few projects a year.
Uh-huh.
Let me just say that. So if you want to be in the know about that, the best thing to do is follow me on social media. I have many platforms, but Instagram is kind of like my favorite to use overall. So anytime I'm dropping a new project, that's where you're gonna probably find out about it first.
Okay.
I just dropped a project on February 13th. It's called Winter in Love.
Nice.
Which was part of a exclusive release over a year ago. I dropped it a year ago, February 13th, 2024, on an exclusive platform where it's direct to consumer called even.biz.
Okay. Even.biz.
Yeah, even.biz, which is, if you're for independent artists, poets, MCs, singers, it's been a great platform for me to, monetize. And so I decided to put it out to the DSPs just to give the, over 500 fans went over there to support me directly. And now I've given it to the world, so you can enjoy Winter in Love. That's my most recent musical offering, and I have some huge things on the way. I do have the Quiet Storm Lover EP Volume 1 on the way.
Oh
yeah.
Yes.
And I have an album that is coming out with BBE, involving some Marvin Gaye catalog, and shout out to Kenny Dope from Masters of Work, who is the producer. Myself and Kenny are the executive producers of that project, and BBE will be distributing that this year, prayerfully in time for his birthday.
Nice.
Yeah, and
nice.
And some cool other things. So I'm dropping a few projects a year, anywhere from definitely like 2 a year, as many as like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Doing Raheem DeVaughn Presents as well.
Nice.
So you can expect a new project from Granique.
Yeah.
Tentatively in March. Y'all remember Granique? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So she's doing her thing. I'm extremely excited about her project when butterflies become unicorns. And people hearing that. Hopefully she'll be here on the boat next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Raheem, I know I said this is the last question, but I've got to ask you one thing. You're working with Kenny Dope on this album. You've worked with Terry Hunter. You're an R&B artist, but house music is so right there for you too.
Yeah,
house music has played such a huge game changer for you in your music. Yeah. How's it impacted you, and why house music?
I have DJ Jazzy Jeff to thank for that. Him.
We gotta get Jazzy Jeff on this
Yeah,
cruise.
Professor X, aka Morpheus.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He's been the one, a major dot connector for me and a lot of other artists. So, want to give Jeff his roses. From that relationship, Kenny and Louis have become like big brothers to me. Terry Hunter as well, big brothers to me. Myself and Terry, our latest offering to the music game was Favorite Things to Do. I don't know if you had a chance to check that out yet. Those guys are just so dope musically, and I've learned so much. I was performing at Ministry of Sound before the world knew my name and stuff like that, over in London and these different places, and traveling the world with Jeff and VA Skills, Mad Skills. Yeah, I mean, you know, I tap into all different genres of music. Yeah, so it's, you know, house is something that I love to contribute to the game, and you know, eventually, you know, probably do like a house album or something like that, you know.
All right, that is something that we can get into. You heard it
For
here on
sure.
Capital Jazz first. Raheem's releasing a house album, and I'm getting production credits. That's all.
There it
That's
is,
all.
there it
That's all
is.
we're working on.
There it is.
How do people stay in contact with you? Instagram. You said you can go to Instagram.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram, Raheem_DeVaughn. If you're watching this, take your smart mobile phone and just follow me on Instagram, Facebook.com/, and then also my official website, RaheemDeVaughnOnline.global. Once again, that's RaheemDeVaughnOnline.global. Also, we have exclusive merch that's available, his and hers hats. We have a variety of shirts and hoodies and things of that nature. One of my favorites, my Mike Stays On t-shirt or hoodie, which I've been moving around with, who has like a lot of my dope artist friends, Eric Roberson, Bilal, and
I saw that with Anthony Hamilton.
Anthony Hamilton,
I
so,
saw that.
in no particular order, it's all greatness, and you know, I'm in great company, and it's been great to be here on the cruise, and you know, and see all the wonderful talent, and I'm looking forward to performing on Saturday.
Looking forward to seeing you perform. Looking forward to always having your presence here on this cruise, Raheem.
Thank you.
It's always so good. DMV represent. Raheem DeVaughn, Jodine Dorsey, you're tuned in to Capital Jazz TV.